Welcome to another live watch along. Tonight we have Inter Miami and the Columbus Crew, two of the best teams in Major League Soccer. Obviously, Inter Miami is at the top of the supporter shield or top of the table in Major League Soccer. Columbus Crew is arguably the hottest team in MLS right now. Two very good teams playing in the round of 16 of Leagues Cup, and it's going to be a good match. I'm excited to see what happens tonight. We have Danny Solana, This is Football, joining me soon for the live stream, which should be fun. We'll talk about the game, obviously. We'll talk a little bit about some transfer news. Tomorrow is a big day for MLS and the transfer window. It closes tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it's Thursday. I think it's tomorrow. So there's going to be some interesting things to talk about. There's obviously been a couple transfers that have been reported. Yeah, so it closes tomorrow. Obviously, there's a couple transfers that have fallen through, which we'll talk about later in the stream. So make sure you like the show, this video down below. Share with your friends. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. We'll try to answer as many as we can tonight. Excited for this game. We'll ask this again in the show when more people pour in, but who do you guys have winning tonight? Do you have the Crew, or do you have Inter Miami winning tonight? What is your score prediction for the game tonight? Roller said Miami need just to bench Cello. Ian Frey is way better. Yeah, Ian Frey's been playing really well. Cello has been inconsistent. He looked really good when he first came to Miami, and he's kind of fallen off. He just plays very erratic, looks lost a lot of times, and he just has not been good, honestly. He's been very bad the last couple months, honestly. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays going forward. They really need all the help they can get because their defense is such a liability in general, Inter Miami. So they really need all back four to play very well, or it's going to jeopardize their chances of winning an MLS Cup. Good team, top of the table, but they're going to have to play better. Ian Frey was very important to Miami's win against Columbus in June. Yeah, he was. And Miami had a great run during the absence of so many players during Copa America, Euros. They've had a lot of good performances, and I was skeptical about how well they would do during that period because they were just missing so many key players. Tonight, we're really going to see which of these teams are better. This match is going to tell us who the best team in Major League Soccer is, honestly. I can't wait to see what ends up happening. Is Suarez going to have a better game? Is Cucho Hernandez going to have a better game? We're going to see two great MLS teams battle it out and try to advance to the quarterfinals of Leagues Cup. So it should be an exciting match tonight. Turts555 says, first live, any reaction to the Sounders game yesterday? Yeah, I mean, it was a beatdown. I think the Champions League final 2 years ago was like 3-0 at home with Seattle winning. Seattle dominated Pumas last night. I didn't expect that to happen, to be honest with you. I thought it would be Pumas would win, and it'd be probably a little closer. So who knows? Seattle might be the sleeper team. They might end up winning it all. There has been a lot of calls for Brian Schmetzer to be on the hot seat because the Sounders have really disappointed since that Champions League final win in 2022. Had a very slow start this season. And if they win this tournament, I think that he's guaranteed to at least finish the season no matter what. Even if they don't make the playoffs, I think that it's going to extend his stay as the manager of Seattle Sounders. So it's impressive win. Let's pull that up real quick. Let's look at the bracket, see who, I forgot off the top of my head who they play if they win this game, and the Sounders, and we'll talk about who they would face in this game as well if they win. Okay, let's see. Okay. So Sounders play the winner of LAFC and San Jose tonight. It's going to be a tough game. I think LAFC is going to win, and we'll be keeping up with the scores throughout the other scores of other games throughout tonight as well. It's going to be a tough one if they play LAFC. I think that that's going to be a tough one to win. Olivier Giroud is supposed to play for San Jose or play against San Jose tonight, so I think LAFC's got to be favored in that match. Maybe if San Jose wins, I would take Seattle, but if it's LAFC, I would probably take LAFC as the favorite in that match as things currently stand. And then tonight, okay, so the winner of this game, that's right, they play the winner of Tigres in New York City FC. I think Tigres is going to win that match. I don't know how you guys think about or what you guys think about that. I think Tigres is going to beat New York City FC. I personally think Columbus is going to win tonight, especially since the game's at home. But Inter Miami is good enough to obviously win. It's going to be a close game, hopefully. But I mean, look at this beatdown Columbus put on Sporting Kansas City. Sporting Kansas City obviously is not a very good team. Beat them 4-0, but Miami won 4-3 against Toronto. So we'll see what happens. Love to know what you guys think the score is going to be of the game, of the match tonight. Kurt says LAFC or San Jose both at home. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know that they have the home field advantage, but LAFC is a better team than San Jose. So even if it is at Lumen Field, I feel better about the LAFC beating Seattle at Seattle than I do about San Jose. Could be a good game, especially since Seattle's playing very well. There's a lot of uncertainty. I want to see how well LAFC plays with Olivier Giroud. Connor says they said our days were numbered. We're not famous anymore, but Columbus runs the country like we always have before. Yeah, I mean, Columbus is the hottest team in the league right now, and I have them winning tonight. I think they have the best coach in the league by far. Very good team. They're making some moves. Signed what's the guy's name? Was Andres Herrera, the fullback, and then they obviously traded for Daewon Jones from the Revs. So they're solidifying that defense. I still think they need a center back, but you can't underestimate how good the Columbus Crew are. And I think they have to be favored right in this match. I personally do, especially being at home. Looks like we have Danny Solana in here. I'm going to bring him in. Danny, how's it going, man?
Going pretty good. I apologize for my tardiness. Unfortunately, I had a bad set of events today where my wife tripped down our stairs, and she's got a sprained ankle. So I've got to be a nurse / play father with my son. So thank you for being patient and allowing me to finish those duties and get to hop on with you now. So other than that, I'm doing fantastic.
I think I can speak for the chat as well as myself. We hope your wife is okay and has a speedy recovery. Hopefully her ankle doesn't look like Messi's did in that Copa America final. Hopefully it's a little less swollen or it doesn't look as bad as that, you know?
No,
so we'll her speedy recovery.
Yeah, I definitely don't think she has 4 to 6 weeks. It might just be like a 1 or 2 week type of thing. It's not ballooned up like Messi. So that's the good news. Unfortunately, she's not going to be getting that rehab around the clock like he is. So who knows how long it's going to take her to get better, but she is in good spirits. And fortunately, she's just on crutches. And I got, like I said, I got to play nurse. So I might be hopping in and out in here, but I'll do my best to stay on as much as possible with you, Will. I'm super excited for this game. It's probably the biggest game so far of the League's Cup, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about before you hopped on. I was saying that this is two titans of the tournament. You have the top of the table, Inter Miami. I think they're 5 or 6. I can look it up how many points ahead they are on the table. And then you have Columbus, who's arguably been the hottest team in Major League Soccer the last couple of weeks, beating, having a run in MLS, looking really good in League's Cup, beating. I know it's a friendly, but beating Premier League teams 4-1. Look at solidifying the defense. They got a fullback on loan, Andres Herrera from River Plate. And then they also, I think that's where he's from. And then they also traded for Daewon Jones from New England. So these are two really good teams. These are the two heavyweights in MLS outside of maybe the Galaxy and LAFC. Those would probably be my top 4 in the league right now. So this is going to be very entertaining. And what makes it great, Danny, is that no matter what happens, someone's advancing, right? Doesn't matter. We're going to get results. Someone's going to win. Someone's going to lose. And I can't wait to see which team prevails.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if you were able to yet see any of the starting lineups, but I guess you have them on the screen there, or not yet. You haven't put it up, but I can go ahead and throw out Miami starting lineup that I see here on Twitter. So they're starting with Calendar, no surprise there. Alba, Busquets. So as we remember, last game, Inter Miami against Toronto FC, David Martinez, their new center back signing, got a red card. So Busquets will be filling in the center back for him. Toto Aviles, the young guy from Argentina, right next to him. And a big surprise at right back. Tata Martino is going with Ian Frey, who, if you remember, about a month and a half ago, when these two teams met at Chase Stadium, Inter Miami won 2-1, and Ian Frey had the first goal in the game. So big surprise, especially since Chelo Wigant's been in the starting lineup probably, I want to say, for the last month, playing right back. So nice surprise there to see Frey. Another surprise in the midfield is Benjamin Kremaski. I did not expect that. I expected possibly Matias Rojas.
Wait, hold on, one second, Danny. They have the starting 11 on the screen. It's a little different. I think they changed it because they had Chelo in the starting lineup, and they also had they had Kremaski and
you're right. No, you're right.
On the bench.
You're right. You're right, and I'm wrong. I was reading something wrong, so I apologize. You're right. It's Calendar, Busquets, Aviles, Rojas, Suarez, Alba, Gomez, Noah Allen. Looks like will be the one playing right back there. No, or
he's playing. Yep. He's playing
left center back. Yep,
center back. Yes,
and Bright, Redondo, and Wigant. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. Looks like the only sub will be Noah Allen, Noah Allen and Bright coming into to the game, and going to the bench. It looks like will be David Martinez, and looking to see who else. Can't remember. Gressel. Gressel is going to the bench.
It looks like they have Busquets playing almost like a sweeper role, like where he is a center back, but he's kind of, playing a little further back than a CDM, but a little bit, further up than a typical center back. So they're playing very defensive in this game. So we have two teams playing 5 out of the back. That's interesting, right? We're seeing that more. It's a more regular thing in Major League Soccer. I've talked to you about this on the phone. I'm not particularly a big fan out of 5 at the back. I like the 4-3-3 or the 4-2-3-1. I just, I feel like the 5 at the back is just super defensive. It's a little not my style. But this game, I think it's going to be two teams really just fighting it out, and maybe this won't be the scoring fest that I thought it could have been.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're going to have to wait and see. I think, in tournament play, especially when you get to the knockout stages, you're used to seeing teams maybe play a little bit more defensive, a little bit more conservative, and wait for the other team to make that defensive mistake and capitalize. I mean, we've seen Inter Miami be the type of team to capitalize on mistakes, especially when they get turnovers in the final third. So am I surprised to see this lineup for Tata? No, maybe a little bit more for Columbus, who's usually plays a 3-4-2-1, if I'm not mistaken. So, and that turns into 5 in the back. But it's going to be an interesting game. I mean, so far it's been a little bit back and forth these first couple minutes. Inter Miami looks to be attacking a little bit more. There's Suarez.
Oh, so that was a tough angle by Suarez.
Yeah,
it is. Now I know he was always like this at Barcelona, but Jordi Alba is just so effective in the final third, and his attacking ability, his crossing ability is just so, you're not used to seeing that type of ability in MLS. It's just so nice to have that. And it's what makes them a bigger threat, right? Because how often do you have a fullback who can cross the ball and as good as anyone else in the league?
Not just cross, but overall playmaking ability.
Exactly.
I mean, his vision, and it's kind of crazy because even Busquets. So how a lot of folks have said Busquets is like a center midfielder, but really he's more of like a center attacking mid with the visibility and the brain that he has while he's playing. I think Jordi Alba is a left back who has the abilities of a 10 as well as a cam, because you see him even as a left back feeding into the midfield, trying to help the attack and get up as much as possible. And he always seems to make the right pass, whether it's a center or a pass to the middle or even a pass to the wing. He always seems to make the right pass.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows his technical ability where he's such a skilled player. He can almost play anywhere. I mean, really, if you need him to, he can play in the midfield. He could play, hell, he could play as a winger if he had to, just because of the skill set. And I think at the story with him at Barcelona was he was in the academy, and they said he was too small, and they I think they cut him or they released him from the youth academy, and then I think it was Sevilla that he played with, if I'm not mistaken, was the club he was at before he came back with Barca, and he got his start there. Switched to fullback, was playing very well, and they bought him in like 2012, and the rest is history.
And it's been a nice history for him, huh? He's won a lot of trophies. He was the, if I'm not mistaken, he was the captain um at one point, or the sub captain at Barcelona. He wore the captain's band. I think he also did it for Spain a couple times. So I mean, we're talking about an absolute world class player. And
Ooh,
so the team that he went to was Valencia. So
Valencia, that's not
he played in
Valencia.
Valencia, and then he looks like he played a season for Gymnastic, which is no longer in the first division. And that's when he went. After that, he went back to Barcelona, where Barcelona paid 14 million for him. So they
Wow.
gave him away for free and ended up paying 14 million to get him back.
What is your so looking at the screen right now? You see a lot of empty seats. What's your take on the attendance right now, or like for this game specifically?
I mean, I don't know. I thought that would be a lot more folks, especially in Columbus, and especially knowing that this is probably one of the better matchups that we're going to see in the tournament. With the teams that are there, you have the defending Leagues Cup champion in Miami, who have their, almost all their stars, and I'm including in that name, in stars, Diego Gomez, Federico Redondo, these types of guys, because they're young but they're still stars. And I mean, I'm surprised with the trade of getting, Dewan, and also with the other signings, and the fact that they're on a tear. And I'm talking about Columbus Crew now. They're on a tear the last month, just putting up 5 at LAFC, putting up 4 a couple of days ago against Sporting Kansas City. I mean, I'm just really surprised that there's so many empty seats. I mean, could it be that it's an early game? I mean, I don't know. I don't really know the time. Is there a time difference? Is it a 6:30 start over there?
I want to say that Ohio is Eastern time, so I think it's a 7:30 start.
Okay, because that would obviously be an kind of like it's Eastern daylight, so that's no excuse. I mean, I guess the excuse in Miami, or at least in South Florida, is always, well, there's a lot of traffic, and there's, at rush hour, and to get to the stadium, it takes about an hour if you live in South Florida to get to the stadium in Fort Lauderdale. I don't know the logistics of getting to the stadium in Columbus. But I mean, it looks like behind the goal, at least where the supporters groups is, it looks pretty full. It's the other seats that look
Oh,
pretty
what a
empty.
pass by Rossi.
Oof,
Oh,
what a great ball! What a great run there.
yeah,
That, that
that's the difference. That's the difference in good teams and bad teams. MLS is knowing to make that run. Um, was he
and look,
offside?
it looks like he was maybe a step, but and look who made the run. Is that not Dewan?
It is.
So
Yeah, it's Daewon
just,
Jones. Yep.
I mean, and he scored a goal last game. So I mean, he got traded, less than a week, 10 days ago, and he's already making an impact. Big pickup for Columbus. Obviously, it stinks for the New England Revolution, who he was playing with, but they're obviously in a complete rebuild now. And they have their own issues also, right, with tickets and things like
Oh
that.
yeah.
So
Yeah, you saw the game last week at the Leagues Cup. I mean, there was like 20 people there,
I
which is
did.
crazy. Yeah, I mean, this is maybe more people pour in as like the game goes on. That's just how it is. Some people aren't able to make it right after the game starts or before the game starts. Maybe things pick up a little bit during maybe 20, 30 minutes in. But yeah, I mean, honestly though, the attendance has been pretty poor throughout the whole tournament. I mean, you know this firsthand too. Even at the Inter Miami game, they gave out free tickets and the attendance was poor.
Well, I can give you an update on that if you're interested. So Inter Miami
100%.
sent out an email yesterday to all season ticket holders, telling them that they had until today,
Ooh,
I think at 3 p.m., to opt in what a great ball. These balls that they're just putting in there, fantastic
It's
balls.
just
And it goes
quality.
to show you.
This is okay. Real quick, I'm not sorry to interrupt you, but this is the top tier of MLS right here. These are two Titans, two Giants. This is what good quality in MLS looks like. Obviously, there's a lot of bad teams. There's bad teams in every league, but this is a match where you're like, I can see it. I see the quality. I see the potential of what the league can be. We need more teams on this level. And the funny thing is too is that Columbus doesn't. They don't. Their teams are built differently, right? Columbus doesn't have the stars that Miami has, or built the team the same way. But they're going blow for blow. I mean, this has been a great game. 10 minutes in.
Absolutely. I mean, they don't have the star power in terms of the eliteness of the players that Inter Miami has, right? The names in Suarez and Busquets, we always talk about them, but they do have difference makers, on their team. You've got Cucho, who's an absolute difference maker. Diego Rossi, who was at one point the golden boot in the MLS, if I'm not mistaken, when he played for LAFC.
Matias Rojas scores. Oh, what a header.
3 for 3, man. 3 games in a row, 3 goals.
Matias Rojas, the most underrated signing in Major League Soccer this year. Underrated. Had a Paraguayan reporter reach out to me and say, Will, this dude is great. He just cannot stay healthy. But if he does stay healthy, watch out, Major League Soccer. This dude, I'll tell you what, he has got to be in contention for newcomer of the year. He has got to be in contention. When this dude is on the field, he makes plays. Look where he just knows where to be. Look at that. Was that Alba with the pass? Who was that with the pass?
No, that was Gomez. But you took the words out of my mouth. Matias Rojas is always at the right place at the right time to receive the ball and put it in the back of the net. He did it against Puebla with that amazing rocket. He did it twice last week, or last Thursday against Toronto FC with a complete rocket, and then another beautiful goal. You can see Wilfred Nancy does not look happy right now.
Wow.
He's got a smirk on his face. He is heated. But let's see what happens. Let's see if this opens up the game, because Columbus is now going to have to come out and attack a little bit. So this could leave some spaces for Inter Miami.
What if Inter Miami were to win this tournament back-to-back without Messi, which I think that we could both agree, if they somehow make it to the final, which is in 12 days, might be 11 days actually. If they make it to the final 11 days, I think they find a way to get Messi on the pitch, even if it's for 30 minutes.
No doubt.
I think he's playing some in that game.
Absolutely. I mean, there's already reports out of Inter Miami, the camp, saying that he's still doing individualized work within the gym, but he should be getting out back onto the field sometime, soon. Once he gets back onto the field, I'd say give him about a week or something to get into, a decent amount of playing shape. But I agree. I think if they make it to the finals, he'll make some sort of appearance, especially if it's a final where it's being played at Chase Stadium. And that can only happen if Inter Miami faces a Mexican team or the Colorado Rapids. So that's the only way Inter Miami will host a final. And I agree with you. I think, he said he's focused on getting ready for the Argentina qualifiers. I don't think he'll play the Argentina qualifiers. I think he's just going because they won the Copa America. He wants to carry the trophy out in his home country. And he didn't get the chance to do that after Copa America because he had to, start rehabbing his ankle injury. So again, I do see him coming back for a final if they reach it. And what a story that would be, Will, for Inter Miami to be on this tear that they're on. They're 8-1-1 in their last 10, all without Messi. And if they were to continue doing this, it's 3 more games to get to the finals. They'd be 11-1-1. Not only do you have to start thinking about newcomers and all MVPs and all that, but you have to start giving credit to Tata Martino as well, because
Coach of the Year.
I don't know about Coach of the Year, because I think he's got a little bit of competition there, because there are some other teams that are doing fantastic this year. LA Galaxy's doing well
though, because think about this, Danny. If your team wins the Supporter Shield, which you know how we feel about that, it is what it is. It's not the trophy; it's a trophy, right?
But
that's how, right? But that's how they essentially give out the Coach of the Year award, is how well you do in the regular season. And if they win the Supporter Shield, I just don't know how you don't give it to Tata Martino. If he wins the Supporter Shield with the best, with the most points, he has to win Coach of the Year.
I agree, but remember, there's always gonna be those fans that are gonna say, "Well, he had Suarez and he had Busquets and he had Alba and he had Messi for part of the season, and not only that, they had great young players. Anybody could do that." But you and I both know, and a lot of our colleagues also know that you can't just do that. And I think that the women's, and not to get into the women's game, but I think the women's national team coach just proved that, because she came in, to coach the women's team who hadn't been doing that well, and she coached these women up. I mean, and they played a fantastic Olympic tournament. So coaching does make a difference, especially if you have a coach that knows the players very well, like Tata knows these guys very well, and they have a lot of confidence in each other. So absolutely, he definitely needs to be within the talks. But I think he does have some competition with some of the other folks, other coaches in the league.
Yeah, no, I think that Steve Cherundolo will definitely have some say in it. I just, oh, what a ball! Who was that? Diego Gomez?
No, that was Redondo.
Redondo. Okay. Yeah, I think whoever ends up winning the Supporter Shield, that's probably going to be Coach of the Year. That's just how it works. But yes, there's going to be several coaches, and who knows? Miami's not guaranteed to win the Supporter Shield. There's a couple teams like the Galaxy and LAFC who are right there with them for the for the Supporter Shield, or what you call it, the cheese tray or the meat tray, whatever you called it. So it'll be interesting to see who ends up. Oh, what a pass! Cucho to Diego Rossi.
Great pass.
Oh, nice defending by Toro.
Yep. I mean, that's what he's good at those recoveries. He sometimes gets caught playing high. You could see it there. I mean, as you see the replay, he gets caught and he's got Rossi behind him. Doesn't look like he sees him, but he has such speed, and he's able to react and get there. And luckily he's got some long legs.
Hey guys, if you haven't already, make sure you like this video, share with a friend. Me and Danny are trying to grow the audience as big as we can. Me and him want to enjoy the game with all of you guys, talk about Inter Miami and the Columbus Crew. We also want to hear from you. Who do you think is going to win this game? Miami obviously starting off stronger than I thought they would on the road. So make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comment section who's going to win this game. What do you think the score is going to be? We did have a comment earlier by Roller. He said Matias Rojas might be one of the best signings of the season if Griezmann does not come. I think he arguably is the best signing outside of Suarez. He's the most underrated signing. I'll say that because of the production he's had with what the expectations were. I would say he's the most underrated signing for sure. He also said great for Avilés. Yes, that was great defending. Mexican American 457 said hello. I have Columbus winning the game. Sorry, Miami, no repeats.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit with you on that underrated signing. Now, while I do agree with you, I'm curious. One name that stands out at me, and only because I don't think he came as heralded as other big signings come, but Joseph Paintsil out for the LA Galaxy. I think he's played well, but would you not count him as underrated because maybe he had a name and where he came from? Whereas maybe Matias Rojas wasn't, I guess, as known as maybe a Joseph Paintsil, but I don't know. To me, I still feel like he could be an underrated signing. I don't know what you think.
Here's my thing on that, right? Joseph Paintsil had some Premier League interest. They paid close to 10 million for him. He was brought in to be the guy or one of the guys.
Okay.
And Matias Rojas was a free transfer. He was looked at as a depth piece. Like, hopefully he stays healthy and he can help us win some games when Messi misses for Copa America. And which is funny because he ended up going to Copa America himself, right, with Paraguay because he was playing so well. But yeah, I just think that with the expectations we had for him, hopefully this guy can stay healthy. He can give us a couple games where he can perform. Any game he plays in, Danny, I always notice him because he makes that much of an impact. He's always playing well and making an impact. So I think that he's the most underrated signing because of what they paid for him, nothing, what he's being paid, which is a TAM deal, and what the expectations were for him, which were low. They were never expecting him to come in here and be one of the main cogs in the machine and rely on him like that. So that's what makes him so impressive. Now, Paintsel is a good player. So is Peck, Gabriel Peck. But the thing with those guys is they paid 20 million together for both those guys. If they weren't doing what they were doing or what they are doing, then they would just be a bust.
Absolutely. I get where you're coming from. So I mean, it all goes down to, what the team invested and what they're trying to get out of that player. And I mean, I totally agree. If you were a person who didn't follow Corinthians before when he was in there and got to see him play, you don't know, what kind of player you were getting. And I would assume, and this might be bad to assume, but I would assume most of the fans that watch MLS are not watching, the Brazilian league and did not get to watch him play those games. Now, you said he was injured, which is true. He did have a lot of injuries, which probably drove his value down, and that's why Inter Miami was able to get him so cheap.
Yeah,
But
free.
I
I think wasn't there something with Corinthians not paying him, and he filed a complaint with FIFA, and he was able to terminate his deal with them? I think
that's correct.
Like that. Yeah,
that's correct. That's correct. So I mean, so that's how they got him. And I mean, if he continues to play like this, they might even be able to make some money off of him. You never know. But it's incredible that we get these types of players in the league. And I mean, it's fantastic that Inter Miami, at least for me, is leading the charge. I would love to see more teams do this, similar things. And I think that the Columbus Crew did that with bringing Andres Herrera in, somebody, again, who is probably well known within the South American ranks, but not I'm sure most of the Columbus fan base didn't know who he was. But it's a guy who's got experience playing in big games down in South America, and I think he's going to do well. And again, if he does fantastic, then it ends up being a great signing for them. So I think more teams need to do similar things and start bringing these players from South America, whether it be on these free loan transfers with the option to buy or, whatever it might be. But I think you're seeing that the more and more these players come, the better the league is getting.
Yeah, I actually posted a tweet about this earlier because the Calvin Stangs transfer to Charlotte got called off because of, it looks like he's had some knee injury or knee concerns, and Charlotte was kind of a little hesitant about it, maybe possibly even trying to not rescind their offer, but lower their offer, make a revision to it. And they play on turf, obviously. Me and you both feel the same about turf, but play on turf with bad knees is just not good, obviously. So that deal looks like it's fallen through, according to Fabrizio. And I was talking earlier about, or tweeting earlier about how a lot of European players are hesitant to come to MLS because if they're coming to MLS, they have to have in their mind, like, this is my final stop. It's not easy to leave Europe and then come back to Europe. If you play in like a top 6 league in Europe, it's not easy to leave, go to MLS, and come back on a better team. It does not happen very often. But South America, there's been plenty of examples of teams, our players coming to MLS, getting their profile built up here, and then being sold and going to a better club in Europe. So, I got a lot of flack because I was saying that, there's been plenty of players that have left Europe, came to MLS, but they don't go back. They don't go back. They stay. Like, I just want to know one player who's left MLS or left Europe, went to MLS, and I'm talking about in a top 5, top 6 league in Europe, not the Polish league or the Romanian league. I'm talking about a league that's, what a pass from, is that onside?
No, I think he's offsides, but what a pass by Suarez.
What a pass.
He tried to meg him, but yeah, I think he was offsides. Yeah, I saw that tweet. I think I wrote back to you. Let's talk about it tonight. So I'm glad you brought it up. But I mean, I can give you, and I read some other things on the Stengs deal. So I'm glad that you kind of gave me that update because I read the other side of it. I didn't know about the knee issues, and I read Stengs' tweet saying how he had a change of heart and how he didn't know how much he was loved at Feyenoord and how he was ready to come back and give it his all for the club. Clearly, he's probably saying that to save some face because he had the knee injury. They probably wanted to lower it, and he didn't want to look bad. Again, I'm assuming that's an assumption. But I'll tell you why that happens, or at least an opinion. So the living conditions in South America, especially where most of these players are coming from, Brazil, Argentina, Ecuador, Colombia, Peru, they're just not that great. And especially for the players who are coming to the MLS, they don't come from, these amazing households with a lot of money. It's just not the story. Whereas in Europe, I think the living situation, even though you might not be well off, or your family might not come from a lot of money or have a lot of money, I think your living situation is a little bit better in terms of what it is in South America. So the South American players might push a little more to get out of South America because they know that they're going to make some money, and their way of life is just going to be a lot better in the United States. So they want to push for that. Whereas if you're in Europe, and we see this also with the players from Mexico, Will, that there's a little bit of hesitancy from those players to go overseas from Mexico. And I feel the same way from Europe. And I think they just feel at home there. And they're not so sure about the MLS yet as it being one of the top, one of the better leagues. But I want to ask you about Weston McKennie, because we texted about it and stuff. I heard, that he might be coming back to the MLS, and I was having some conversations with some friends about it. And I mean, to be honest, would you rather him come back to the MLS on some $15 million deal, or would you prefer him to go to the Turkish league and play for Galatasaray, where, he might get 3 or 4 Champions League games guaranteed or whatever, but it's not a great league overall. So for his personal growth, what would you rather do? Go to the Turkish league, come back to the MLS, or, option C, which is find any other league?
Before I answer that, I'm gonna bring up this comment by Philly Dilly 000.
That's a great name. That's a great name.
Yes, he says way easier to get to the Big Five from the Eredivisie or the Jupiler League, which is the Belgian league, than from MLS right now.
I don't think so.
I think it does, because you have to think they're already in Europe. They're playing in Champions League matches. The scouting departments and team have a closer. Ooh, what a shot by Cello! Oh, what a save!
Oh,
that was close.
Yeah, looks like he might have been offsides though.
He was. That was a good shot though. But the Eredivisie is probably the 6th best league, maybe 7th best league in the world. The Belgian league is probably between 8 or 9. And the scouts have a keen eye, and they know these leagues very well, especially like the Premier League and La Liga. So it's a better league. It's closer to the other top 5 leagues. It wouldn't make sense for them to leave to come to MLS just to try to get a move to the Big Five. Now, for South Americans, it's probably closer because, I mean, a South American going to MLS has proven that they can get a move to one of the Big Five leagues. We've seen it numerous times, right? But I think they also have an equal opportunity, if not slightly greater, if they go to one of these 2 leagues he names. But it just doesn't make sense for a European player or someone already at that club or one of these 2 leagues, to leave to come to MLS. It's all about the circumstance. MLS is probably between 13 and 15 the best leagues in the world. And talent can come from any league in the world, right? I mean, just because you're the 15th best league in the world doesn't mean you don't have talent. The best left back in the world came from MLS, and Alphonso Davies, and it was even worse when he was playing here. So it's all circumstantial. But as far as your question about Weston McKennie, because I think this is also important to that to this point, I think Weston McKennie coming to MLS would be a disaster right now, because he's going to cost more money because of him being his national team status. And I think, for example, Miami, right? He's going to cost $15 million probably to leave. Miami could get a better player for $15 million than Weston McKennie in South America. You're paying for Weston McKennie's name, not his production on the field. And I think that having him here also is a risk because of his lifestyle. What is he going to do off the field? Is he going to jeopardize his fitness? Is he going to get in trouble? Is he going to be committed to giving his all for the club game in and game out? We've heard several players say MLS is not a serious league as far as every game matters. And I think if you combine that with Wes McKennie's not lifestyle, but just his playing style and the way he's been lately, that is a recipe for disaster. So I am a 100% no on Wes McKennie to enter Miami in any MLS club at this point. For one, I don't want him coming here because it's bad for the national team. And two, I don't want him coming here because he's going to be overpaid and he's not worth it.
Both good answers. I was looking for answer number one over answer number two. But I completely agree with you. I think if you're a player who is a national team player and you're trying to play at the most elite level and want to remain at that level, you need to continue to play with players who are at that level. And even if it means the Turkish league, which again is not one of the top leagues, again, I guess, he's going to be playing with some great players over there. Might not be the best living situation for him. He might not love it, but I do understand folks, who say they would rather the Turkish league than MLS. And I'm with that. Unfortunately, people might say, oh, well, he might be homesick and which that's fine. You might be homesick, but if you want to be the best or you want to play with the best, I mean, you're going to have to overcome some of those, some of those difficulties.
Yeah, and the Turkish league is probably right around that top 8 in the world. Some people could argue that it's actually better than the Eredivisie. It's all a preference thing. Their top 3 to 4 clubs are very good. Galatasaray, and I want to say it was, maybe it was
Besiktas.
I think. I mean, they had the most incredible season I've ever seen. Like, I was blown away. I got to look this up real quick, just because I was texting a friend, and I was. This is funny as hell, actually. Oh, almost shot on goal. Looked like Diego Gomez on the header. So yeah. I was tweeting my friend or texting with a friend, and I said, "Could you imagine how bad this would suck, Danny?" So it's Fenerbahce, actually. Okay, they were second on the table.
Fenerbahce.
Could you imagine you have a season? Oh, what a pass by Jordi Alba to Matias Rojas. Oh,
what a ball. Oh, come on, Matias.
Could you imagine a season, Danny, where you had a goal difference of plus 68? You won 31 games, 6 draws, and only 1 loss all year, not 99 points on the table, and you finished second in the league.
But that's what happens in those leagues that are extremely top heavy. I mean, that's what you see. I mean, is that not what we see? And again, I'm not talking bad about La Liga, but that's what we see in La Liga. Usually you'll see Real Madrid or Barcelona with 90 something or 100 points or whatever. And then, Atletico Madrid will be 8 or 9 points behind that. And then the 4th place team will be another like 5 or 6 behind them. And then it's a huge, between 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, it's a huge mess. And that's usually how it is in most of those leagues. I think the only league, even the EPL is like that. I mean, the EPL, it's basically been over, by January. There's only usually 2 teams. Yeah. There's only usually 2 teams that are really in it at the end, maybe 3 if you get lucky. Oof. Looks like it was a foul on Suarez. Hey man, Inter Miami's attacking a lot in this game, even playing with 5 in the back.
They're going for it. Yeah, no, I agree the top heaviness, but still, just even how sick to your stomach, because they don't have a playoffs obviously over there, right? How sick to your stomach would you be to know that Miami lost 1 game all season, 1 game they lost all year, 99 points on the table, and they lost the league? How sick would you be to your stomach?
No, I would definitely probably throw up for a week and a half straight, no doubt.
That's like a historic season. I mean, so Galatasaray won the league. They had 101 points. I think it's the first time in several years that the team has had 100 points in a season. I can't remember in one of the top 8 leagues. I mean, that's crazy. That doesn't happen often. Most teams don't win. Like hell, even Manchester City hasn't had 100 points in a season, and they're arguably the best team in the world. Or Barca and Madrid haven't had 100-point season, and not since I can remember. I've been watching it. They haven't.
Yeah, no, and Philly Dilly just brings up a good point. We haven't talked about the Portuguese league, and absolutely, I think it's definitely grown exponentially over the last 10 years. We've seen some fantastic players come out of that league and be almost like a feeder league into the EPL. You've seen Darwin Nunez, playing over there. You've seen
João
and
Felix.
Joao Felix is another one. Manuel Ugarte, Uruguayan center midfielder. He was playing for Sporting. Then he was now signed by PSG. Now he's rumored to be going to Manchester United. So, I mean, a lot of great players that come from the Portuguese league that are, feeding these other big five leagues. So definitely great point there by Philly Dilly.
So I agree with him that the Portuguese league, it's tough. So for that sixth spot, right? Because we know the top five, right? Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, French League, and
Serie A.
And Serie A. Okay. The sixth league is a toss up between the Brazilian league, the Eredivisie, and the Portuguese league. It's really close between those three leagues.
And I'd almost put the French league in there too, because now without Mbappe there, I mean, there's really no star power left in the French league. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens this year in the French league.
Yeah, I still would put the PSG is still better than probably any of those teams, the best teams in those leagues.
Probably, yes.
So that is the reason why I still give them the leg up as being the fifth best league. I actually got some backlash about it was the coaching video when I was talking about the national team and Pellegrino Matarazzo. I got some backlash because I said the Bundesliga was probably like the fourth best league, and they're like, no, it's not. It's not. I'm like, okay, well, the Premier League is definitely better. I think the Serie A is the second best league in the world now because there's more balance in the league than there has been in years past. Juve is not running anymore. There's Milan, Inter, Napoli. I mean, there's several good teams that are performing again, right? And then I would say La Liga is still going to be better than the Bundesliga. So I think that you could make an argument the Bundesliga is probably like the fourth best league in the world. I got a lot of backlash for that, which kind of threw me off.
I mean, it's up to really people's own opinion, right? I mean, and it's probably the folks who are giving you backlash, and who doesn't give you backlash, Will, man? I mean, you're posting so much content all the time, which is fantastic. And guys, if you're not following Will on Twitter or you're not subscribed to MLS Moves on YouTube, do it, because Will drops. I mean, he might drop a video at 11 o'clock at night. He might get on live at 11:30 p.m. You never know. Hit the bell. He's always doing stuff. So that's why you're getting so much backlash, Will. So it's all good to get backlash. That's great publicity. But the folks who probably are giving you backlash are the ones that probably watch the Bundesliga over those other leagues. And so they're not as familiar with those teams. And, they probably have a bias towards Bundesliga, probably Bayern Munich fans, or definitely no Schalke fans are giving you backlash. Definitely no Schalke fans, because they're in the second division. But it's for sure probably Leverkusen people who, all of a sudden they had a great season this year with, Xabi Alonso as coach. But I mean, it's up to your own opinion. It depends on what kind of football you like to watch. And sometimes the German league can get a little bit boring. I'm not going to lie. You can get a Munich versus Dortmund game, and I'm probably going to watch it because of the fans. It's just going to be crazy. But you might get a Frankfurt versus Hoffenheim. I'm going to watch that. It's probably going to be boring.
We have David Day. He's a member of the channel, which I appreciate him for doing that. He said League One is falling off quick, which I think there is some financial trouble with them. I think there's a lot of financial trouble with the league in totality. And he said MLS will overtake League One in the not so distant future. Now, that's an interesting take, because if they were to do that, that would mean either League One just completely collapses, right? Just overnight collapses, or MLS just catapults to levels we've never seen before. I still think we're at least a decade away from that. I mean, there would have to be a massive fall off for that to happen, especially, I mean, because we named these other leagues that aren't even the French league, right? That we're not better than. So it would take, I mean, it'd have to be a significant increase overnight.
Absolutely. And not only that, but also remember that the owners of PSG are basically, it's basically the prince or whoever the czar of Qatar is. So if a country has so much money, or a person, who's the owner of a country has so much money invested into a team, I highly doubt that he's going to allow the league to fail. So whether that means he's going to get some more of his buddies involved within the league, some more oil money, whatever that might seem, whether It might be that they buy more teams. I don't know what they're gonna do, but
Ooh.
I highly doubt. I highly doubt that that the owners of PSG are gonna allow for League One to just completely flop. There will be some sort of help or buyout or something. There, you don't invest that type of money, and then just let it go to waste. I just don't see that happening.
Let me read a couple more of these comments. So we have Michael Pelly saying, even if you're a player in a bad league in Europe, they still have a chance to play in the biggest European tournament that MLS and CONCACAF just can't compete with. Michael, hold that thought. Me and Danny are going to talk about that in a bit because that's part of another tweet that I had about how to fix that. So I'm going to actually favorite this tweet because I want to get back to that in a second. Philly Dilly said Bundesliga and League One fall off real quick, not much depth. MLS would have to nuke the salary cap to catch League One. And then Mr. Mister says League One has just struggled to get a TV deal. League One is falling off fast. Yeah, we have talked about them falling off, but they have oil money. I mean, PSG doesn't even need a TV deal. They don't care about that. So as long as they have one giant like PSG who's going to be playing in the Champions League and I think they'll be fine. Honestly, I think they'll be fine. Um, David Day says MLS is spending 26% of the revenue on player salary. League One is spending 70% of the revenue on player salary, based on the 2022 UEFA report. Each league are close to $2 billion in revenue.
I mean, if those are all true facts, then that goes to show you how much the MLS still needs to catch up in terms of taking the money that they're making and reinvesting it back into their league, into their teams. That's a pretty big, variance. 70% to 26%. You're talking about 44% of the money. Where's the money, DG? Where's the money, Don?
Their pockets.
Tell me the money.
Well, so SGV says, why is Columbus struggling all of a sudden? Miami's just playing a good game. That's when you have two Titans playing, two Giants playing, anything is possible. It could be an even match. One team can dominate. You really don't know what's going to happen. That's why it's so exciting to watch. Miami's just having a great game and they're exposed. I don't want to use the word exposing, but they're doing well against Columbus. They're matching up well. Tata Martino's making good tactical adjustments to find creases and capitalize on opportunities. And that's a testament to him because, as you and I've talked about, Wilfred Nancy is a great manager, and Tata Martino is beating him in a game of chess right now.
For the second time.
For the second time, right? Yeah. So the Inter Miami looks like they might have Columbus's number. Joey Foster, and also a member of the channel, said, howdy, everyone. I can't stay, but I stopped in to smash the like button. Always great show. I'll catch you later. Joey, thanks for subscribing to the channel. Thanks for being a member. Appreciate the support, my friend. It's always nice to hear from you. Oh, what a pass to Luis Suarez.
See if he can. He doesn't have that speed he once had, and now he's got three defenders on him. I don't know.
Oh, Jordi Alba with a great run. Oh, a little behind him.
Oh man, but you can look. Columbus already has like 7 players back there defending. Inter Miami only has 5. Wow, it's been a fantastic first half.
What's the? Let me go to our page that gives us the statistics. So Columbus is actually winning on possession 57 to 43%, which is kind of a shocker because doesn't it feel like Miami's had the possession more in this game?
I don't know. I think it just feels that way because we've seen them attacking more, the Columbus goal than we have seen Columbus attack the Inter Miami goal. But I would say in the last 5 to 10 minutes, Columbus has picked up their attacking a little bit. We've seen, Drake have to come out and make a
Yeah, but that's probably maybe it seemed maybe even closer to 50-50 in Inter Miami scale. I didn't expect it. Oh, Diego Rossi.
Oh no, I mean Noah Allen, you just cannot leave that ball there. And Rossi, you cannot miss that sitter, buddy.
Wow. Hey, in a few minutes, I want to look at the other games too. Maybe we'll do that at halftime. We'll look at some of the other matches from League's Cup, check on some of those
Absolutely.
scores. Let's see. Jace Collins says Columbus will finish on top of the league. I think they got a lot. I think they got a ways to go if they're going to do that. Michael Pelly says the Premier League is just slowly draining all the other European leagues, and the European could be in trouble in the future with how we know it now. I think is what he meant to say there. I mean, yeah, I mean, but there's, the Super League idea is not dead. I think they're plotting and scheming for that. They're just trying to get the biggest brands into one league. I think that's what they're ultimately trying to do. SGV has a question for both of us. So y'all think St. Louis can pull the upset against America? No, I do not think they can pull. I think Club America might be the best team in the tournament.
I agree with that Club America might be the best team in the tournament, but I also think that St. Louis can pull off the upset. I think what we've seen in this tournament is that anybody can win any single game at any point because of the way that the tournament and the rules are set up. St. Louis doesn't have to score to go to PKs. And if Berkey's playing, he's a decent, goalkeeper to stop PKs. So I don't think it's completely out of the question. Now, if I was a betting man, I'm not putting my money on St. Louis. I'm putting my money on America. But is there a chance? SGV? Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Look, saw it last night. Did you think Pumas was going to lose last night?
No. No, I didn't.
And in that fashion?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
I thought it would be close. I thought that they were going to win, and I thought it would be a close win. I didn't think it was going to be a beatdown,
Exactly. And I don't think that St. Louis is going to be able to do that to America. We're talking about two different clubs here. But for some reason, and I think you were the one that said it earlier today on Twitter, Will, for some reason, Seattle has somehow found a way.
Pass by Suarez. What a lazy pass.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Seattle has found a way to beat these Mexican teams. And I don't know if it's because they're playing at home and that's somewhat of an advantage, but they seem to have the Mexican team's numbers and they seem to be beating them. And again, with a much weaker lineup than they had when they won the CONCACAF Champions League.
Yeah, someone said earlier today that if early in the chat before you hopped on that Seattle, regardless of who they play between LAFC and San Jose, will host that match. So they're going to have another big game at home, which will help them out a lot. But I still just don't think they can beat. I don't think they can beat LAFC because LAFC is arguably the other hottest team in the league outside of Columbus before this game, and that's halftime. That was a good half. Only 1-0, but very exciting. A lot of opportunities, a lot of chances in that first half. I think Inter Miami's got to feel good about how that half ended and where they're at right now. And we've seen Inter Miami, Danny, absolutely explode after the second half. How many times have we seen them this season be down 2-0 or 2-1 and end up winning the game 5-2, 5-1, 4-1? So Inter Miami, as long as they don't put Kristoff on the field at any point in this game, I think they might have a good chance of winning this match.
Absolutely. I mean, I do not disagree with that comment. I have not been a fan of Kristoff since he first was signed by the team last year. But absolutely. I mean, the good thing about Inter Miami and the reason why they're able to do that and play so well in the second half is the depth that they've created. You might pull off Matias Rojas in the second half and you'll have a Julian Gressel who can go in. He's going to be a different type of player, but he can, put in those centers. You might take out one of your midfielders and you're going to have Benjamin Kremaski. You're going to have a David Ruiz who can go in there and give you, a good boost of energy, especially when it's needed in the second half and other players are tired. So, they've done a good job of setting themselves up to where if they need to make certain subs or players get hurt, they can, they get back on. And I don't disagree, Tony. He's been terrible today, but, I think against Toronto FC, it was the best game he's played in a Miami uniform.
Yes, I would say so as well. So SGV said, "How does the hosting work?" I think that they've already kind of divvied this up on who is going to I don't think it really has anything to do with the higher seed, because we've seen that a team can be a higher seed, but they end up still playing at the away team stadium and just being designated as the home team, which is weird. A couple teams got home stadiums. I think Tigres is actually playing in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. New York City had to travel to Texas for their game. It honestly, SGV, none of it makes any sense. It's hard to even follow. It feels like it's changing every day. The only thing we're going to know is that when it's the Final Four, the semifinals, we'll hopefully get some more clarity. And I don't even know how it's decided on who's hosting the final. Maybe who
So
has
it,
the most
no,
points,
it,
or
no. So the way, from what I've understood, it goes by all the teams were seeded based on both Liga MX and MLS, all seeded in one bracket together, one through whatever the number is. And then depending on where you were seated, it was how you finished last year's in last year's league for both of the teams. So depending on where you're seated, that's how it is. Now with the Mexican teams, it was a little bit different because they gave some of the I guess higher profile Mexican teams the ability to play home games, right? So that they didn't have to move. So one of those teams was Tigres. They were able to host both games in Houston. They had a whole Tigres week in Houston during the first round. America is one of the teams that gets to host all the way through the semifinal. They just don't host the final. So they get to host as long as they keep playing all the way through the semifinal. Chivas was through the round of 16. Tigres is through the round of 16. So it was all kind of weird of how it gets set up. And that's why Inter Miami, since they finished so low last year, the only way they get to host a game going forward is if they play the Colorado Rapids or a Mexican team. That's the only way that Inter Miami will play at home anytime the rest of the way.
well, our good friend Favi Rankel, who's going to be joining us, I think in the next couple minutes, just to give his insight and see what he thinks about the game and Leagues Cup in general. He said hosting is the seeding. Hub privileges go away. Tigres doesn't have any more privileges, I guess, now. I think that was maybe more of a group stage thing. Jay says, I'm pretty sure that home teams are hosted by the last season standings and trying to get Mexico teams to play closer to home. Yeah, they did try to do that. They did try to have like Tigres. I think their hub city was Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, or it was Houston. Houston. Okay, that's right. A couple of teams I think were in Houston actually, because I remember a team playing at NRG Stadium. I don't think it was Tigres. It was another team. So I do remember that. David Day says hub privileges should stay with the next Liga MX team in the seeding. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think once you designate a Liga MX team like their home for the tournament, give that home to them for the rest of the. I mean, how is that makes it fair, right? I mean, obviously other teams are going to play at home, so they should have their home for the rest of this tournament as well, and not have to travel.
Absolutely.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, I'm doing well. Hey, Daniel did a good job on explaining that. He did actually a phenomenal job. Yeah, so Tigres had hub privileges up until the group stage. So they don't have it anymore. So Miami, if they win, they go ahead and they play Tigres. They played in Miami. So it really, it's based off of seeding. So it incentivizes a little bit more on your, standings. It's another thing where, get a good standings and get a good placement in standings, and you host Leagues Cup game, excuse me. But yeah, it's been a good game so far. I disagreed a little bit that Suarez has been terrible. I think he's been bad, but I think he also has been an open faucet where if he makes that connecting pass, it's 2 or 3-0, right? So he has good intentions. It's that final ball is missing a tad bit, but maybe he needs to be a little more aggressive. Let's see the Suarez from Norwich. Let's see a half field shot, right?
Hey, well, yeah. the goal came off of a turnover where Suarez was pressuring with Diego Gomez. So
right.
while he hasn't probably been in his tip top point for this game, he is making the right runs, like right. You're saying, Fabian, and he's running more. And you guys all know Suarez is my all-time favorite player. All time. I've watched more of his games than anybody else. He's running a lot more these last 2 games than he did the entire season. So I think it's getting to Suarez time now.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. No bias there, no bias. Suarez is a good player of mine too.
What bias? Hey, we got a question, Fabi, for you that I think you might be able to answer from Just Spider. He said, "So does that mean America will continue hosting in LA, or will they switch stadium again because they played the round of 32 in San Diego?"
So this one's an interesting question because I've heard rumors that they're going to play at PayPal Park, and I've heard rumors about that. So I think the hosting is based off of state and not city because Tigres played a game in Austin as well, where they hosted it. So it was outside of Houston. So it makes sense that it's kind of a state thing, and not a city thing. So just interesting to see, right? Because the San Jose Earthquakes aren't going to be able to host anything either because they're going to go to Seattle no matter what. So that opens up a stadium.
Okay, yeah. So we talked about it earlier. I know that they tried to make it a little more fair for these Liga MX teams, giving them a hub, and obviously they don't have to travel as much. I think the travel has been cut down significantly compared to last year when a team flew like 30,000 miles, which is crazy for
Yeah.
any person to fly that much. But what is your Fabi? What is your overall takeaway from the tournament? Because there's obviously been a lot of backlash. I don't think me and you have talked about this at least in through on a stream or in public. What is your take on the tournament so far? There's obviously been a lot of backlash. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, look, of course, this is a very young tournament. It's 2 years old. My thoughts necessarily is I do like the hub privileges, but I also want to see some MLS teams in those hubs, to kind of make it fair. I think it's a bit unfair too, that the Mexican teams are kind of stuck with that in a sense, and I think that the MLS teams could have hub privileges as well. So let's say Miami wins Leagues Cup again, throw them in a hub privilege on the West Coast. You kind of fix attendance a little bit as well. And then it kind of makes it a bit more fair because they're out of their comfort as well. They're not sleeping at home. They're not, going to practice at their normal places. I think that's a nice way to maybe, say, okay, well, Miami's away too. Columbus is away as well. Let's have everybody away, more like a World Cup type of feeling instead of having them come in from training at home and everything like that. I think that makes it a little bit more fair. So overall, I've liked the tournament. I personally, I didn't like the group stages where you would get MLS versus MLS. I think people are pretty done with that. And then that kind of hub privilege for MLS would avoid, Miami playing Toronto for the second time in 2 weeks, right? Or it would avoid Atlanta playing DC United, or hopefully it would. And you get these repeated matchups that nobody really wants to see because it's the East Coast versus East Coast again. Shoot, if Miami was playing Los Angeles Galaxy, or they already played them, but if they were playing LAFC this year in BMO Stadium, I think that match would have sold out even if Messi wasn't playing, right? So I think there is a couple of changes you can make to fix the attendance, and hearing all the people about the increased prices, yeah, that's fair. I think that's a fair kind of gripe about this tournament is if you increase the prices for a tournament, you expect a better quality, right? But Atlanta versus DC for the third time is not better quality, right? So I think that is a fair assessment. I think maybe next year MLS or the team should kind of take this a little bit more as a maybe minor league, approach where you do hot dog night, you do some different things to get fans in, and then you lower the prices a bit too. Make this an opportunity to see your favorite team instead of it being a premium. Make it a little cheaper for fans to kind of check out Seattle versus Pumas. Maybe then you grab a Mexican fan that doesn't usually come to the games. They come to the game because it's a little cheaper, and then they become a Seattle fan. So who knows, right? So little things like that could make good changes for this tournament. Personally, I've liked the games that have been Mexico versus USA in terms of kind of quality. I think those have been phenomenal ever since Austin versus Pumas. I thought those games are a lot of fun. Now, it's hard to watch those MLS games, right? The MLS versus MLS. And I think that's what everyone's kind of, cherry picking on is like this attendance and this and that. But shoot, that's my whole thing about it. But yeah, to make it more fair, I would put Miami and Columbus and maybe the top 3 MLS teams in a hub, personally.
Let me say this, Fabi. I think also one thing going against MLS is the fact people aren't talking about this. Look, I've said I'm upset about US Open Cup. I want to have that tournament as well. We played both last year. It might have been a little tough on teams fatigue wise, and obviously with the depth that's lacking in MLS, a lot of players had to play more games they'd like because the teams were relying on them. But I think one thing too people have to consider is that we just got 2 straight months of soccer in Copa America and in Euros 2024. And obviously, there's only so much we can consume. All 3 of us love soccer, but when you watch it 2 straight months, the casual fans can be like, "Man, I need a break," right? I mean, I need some type of in between, but with the league starting in August, I need to have a break where I can go enjoy a vacation with my family. My wife wants me to leave the basement. I got to take the kids out on a play date. You know, I haven't seen family in 3 weeks. That I think that is a serious factor into the equation. And last year, you can't compare this year to last year because totally different variables with the player acquisition, with Messi coming to the league, with it being a brand new tournament, totally different ball game. I just think that this tournament playing during these other major tournaments, it didn't do it any favors because people have a little bit of soccer fatigue.
I have a quick question for the both of you, and it's regarding this. And I don't know if it's if Leagues Cup would ever consider it, but what if they just hosted it in one state? Literally, like for example, host it all in the state of California, in the state of Texas. They have enough stadiums between college stadiums and all that. You have everything there, and you do like a mini World Cup.
Right.
Just you host it in a state.
You could do host city.
One.
LA has like 6 or 7 state venues you could play games at.
Well, but you could do it in the whole state of California, and what that does is it'll boost the economy for the whole state of California. You'll get people flying in, and not only that, one of the things that Fabian and you've gotten a lot of backlash on this, and I think it's unfair backlash because you're right, you're 100% right. But if you look at the attendance numbers on the East Coast versus the attendance numbers on the West Coast, there is an absolute huge difference, and that's because of the folks that live there. Unfortunately, in the East Coast, there's not a huge population of Mexican, fans. There is a big group in New York, in Chicago, and bigger cities, but it's not like the West Coast or even the Midwest where it's packed. And these folks want to go see their team. That's why you're seeing a lot. And I know that there was somebody came back at you saying, "Oh, well, there wasn't a lot of people at the Cruz Azul, Puebla, or whatever." That's just one game. And that game was probably hosted where there's unfortunately, not a lot of Mexicans live. So you're not going to get the fans there. So they need to schedule these games
better.
Exactly. And again, that could be fixed with just planning it in one state and just saying, "Hey, we're going to host Leagues Cup in Texas next year." Boom.
Or even like I like the idea, or even like a sub area, like how about this? Arizona, Texas, California, right? Arizona doesn't have any soccer games. So throw some soccer games into there, right? Or even do it in Vegas, right? Have Vegas, Arizona, Texas and California, and then have it like you said, a mini World Cup. That's a good idea. Another thing I was thinking about to kind of get the East Coast more involved is why not just invite some Qatar or Saudi teams? Get those teams in, right? Maybe find those teams or a couple of Asian-based teams to come into the tournament and see what they can do, right? I would even throw a Japanese team in there, a Chinese Super League team. Why not? This is a young tournament. Why not? So my whole thing is, it's nice playing the Mexican teams, but how do you get the East Coast involved? And I think that's a way. I think if you have a DC United versus Marinos from Japan, I think people are going to the game.
Well, I'll say this too. I think also what they need to do, whether it be regional or state selected each year, I think they need to do that on top of rotating with Mexico. I think we do have to play this tournament at least one time in Mexico just to see what happens. What do you have to lose, right? Obviously, the attendance hasn't been what we thought it would be this year in certain areas. And I think in Mexico, it will be, people are going to watch it, right? Because I think that's what's going to pique people to say, well, MLS dominated Leagues Cup in America. How will they fare in Mexico? Even if they don't care about MLS, some of the people who hate MLS, they still are going to watch Fabi and Danny because they want to see how they would do. It's just like you want to watch the car wreck, just to see what happens.
So that is a true statement. This tournament needs to be held in Mexico. I do agree with that.
At least one time, right? At least one time, just to see what happens.
I just don't think they will. And it's profitable for Liga MX to be here too. Because you're getting $45K to show up to Inter Miami Tigres in US, where a whole bunch of Mexican Americans maybe can't go down to Mexico, or maybe they haven't been to Mexico in a long time and they can still watch a Tigres game like it's normal. So that's just my thing. I think yes, of course, everybody wants that. In a perfect world, everybody wants this to be played in Mexico, but for the time being, maybe have hub privileges, maybe have the whole tournament in some sort of sub-region, and then maybe, make prices a little cheaper, understanding that Copa America just happened and like 4 of the big games were in Miami and New Jersey. Of course, no one's going to, pay for DC, Atlanta, or even Puebla into Miami when you just went to see the, Copa America final with Messi guaranteed to play. So it's like, how do you value, going to Inter Miami versus Puebla when you literally had all these games already this summer? So in my opinion, I think MLS dropped the ball on that. You should have had, 4 packs available for $50, and you should have just put butts in seats instead of kind of taking this approach of 25% more. I think that's the rumored number that I saw for Leagues Cup games, which is totally the wrong approach, especially in such a big summer of soccer, right? Like, people only have a finite number for entertainment. You're just pushing those people away, right? You're pricing people out, which makes no sense. Even if Messi was playing, I think people would still not be able to go to all the games.
Right. Oh, and Fabian, that's probably the main reason why they won't ever host it in Mexico, is because you can't charge the prices in Mexico that you charge here. And not only that, but if you were, it wouldn't get full because they're just not gonna pay. So the prices would have to be cheaper. And who would go see an Atlanta United, DC United game in Monterrey, at Monterrey Stadium? I don't know if they would get 10,000 fans there. So
that's true.
Obviously the games that include the Mexican teams would probably sell out every single game because they have the fan bases there that'll go and support them. But
this is where I'm weird. I think you get 20,000 in Vegas if you have DC Atlanta. Personally, I think people circle Las Vegas as, all right, let's make a Vegas trip out of this. And I think you start to get people from Vegas. You maybe get some from everywhere, really. Vegas is one of those weird entities where people will travel to, right?
They just have to make it affordable. Even the Copa America was extremely expensive. I mean, I wanted to go watch Uruguay, Brazil in Vegas. Unfortunately, between the plane ticket, between the Copa America tickets, it was crazy insane. So definitely they need to adjust their ticket prices when it comes to next year's Leagues Cup. They need to do more packages, which Inter Miami fumbled the ball with that with their season ticket holders, and now they kind of I was letting Will know at the beginning. We kind of got off topic, but they actually did that. They said, okay, guys, we'll give you a 3-game mini package, which essentially would be the quarterfinal, the semifinal, and final. You only pay if they host, and the first game is $25, the second game is $35, and the final is $55. So those are affordable prices. Now, it came after all the backlash. So obviously the fans have a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth. But look, that's the things that the other teams need to do in order to get fans in the stadium. And this could be a tournament where you might not get your normal fans that you're going to get in your everyday MLS games. Right. You might have to go look for new fans. And that's the way that you could do it, with great promotion and great marketing.
Well, let me just say this real quick. Also, too,
and I'll be right back.
You guys alluded to there are fans in there's Liga MX fans in America just because the heavy Mexican American population, but there's not MLS fans in Mexico like there is Liga MX fans here. But Favi, one thing that they could also do, right, to make it more fair, what if they allowed to where they do the same format they do right now, but when you get to like the round of 8 or the quarterfinals, then if a Mexico team is a higher seeded team in the quarterfinals, then they host a home match.
Yeah, I mean, that would be cool, to be honest. I mean, but then again, you're kind of running into the same thing. Like, is it profitable for the Liga MX teams? It's a cool idea, definitely.
I think it would be, just because that wouldn't be just a random group stage game with DC United versus Mazatlan. That this is going to be a Tigres possibly against Inter Miami, like it would be in the Champions League, right? Yeah. This would be a higher stake game where it's not just some random bad team playing another team.
Also, Mazatlan's not going to win Liga MX, so they're never going to be seated that high. So if it if it is Inter Miami, Mazatlan, it's going to happen at Inter Miami. That's just the honest truth. But yeah, that's not a bad idea, because you don't have to worry about those teams ever seeding too high in Liga MX, because Liga MX is, yeah, you want to say it has a whole bunch of different winners, but it really isn't. It's like you have a couple of big clubs and then you have some hopefuls. But yeah, I agree. I think it's a good
That
idea.
could be something interesting, right? That way you're not like, obviously they're going to make their money on the group stage. They're going to make their money on the round of 32 and the 16. And then when you start getting into the nitty gritty and just like the where it really matters, if Club America wins that against St. Louis City SC, then they would host the winner of I forgot who they play if who it's between, but they would host that next match in the round of 8. That I believe fans would go to that, and also it would kind of alleviate some of the concerns. Even if the group stage is played on American soil, I think Liga MX fans would be more content with being able to at least host a game or two
Yeah.
on their soil. And I think it would legitimize it more, Favi, honestly, especially considering these have Champions League qualifying spots for this, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's not a bad idea. It's truly not a bad idea. Any way this tournament can get any more to legitimized or any more legitimacy, I think that's a great idea personally. Or even maybe start the first games in Mexico and then switch over, right? So that's another thing to think about too.
Ooh, Matias Rojas with that was close. That's just an idea. Like this is the thing. This tournament is not permanent, meaning the format is they're going to probably try to improve it every single year. They have to do something like that because I believe if they do the same exact thing like they are doing right now, people aren't going to tune in again. They have to make fresh new ideas that get people engaged.
Yeah.
And also too, they have to make sure that Liga MX teams are trying, Bobby, because they have to make sure that they're checked in. They are, trying to win the tournament. They're not just trying to go through the motions and then get bounced early to go back to Mexico. Give them incentive to want to win this tournament and play to their best ability in this tournament.
Yeah, what's wild is like Chivas should have taken this tournament so seriously. I mean, they're going to have such a hard time getting into CONCACAF within Liga MX, but this was a great opportunity for them to even just kind of be in CONCACAF. So I don't know, teams like that, like Chivas, Pumas, Monterrey's always making it, but like Cruz Azul, I think they already qualified, but I just think they should have taken this a little bit more seriously, to be honest. But they didn't. But yeah, no, I agree with you. But yeah, Daniel, have you been hearing anything about Messi coming back? I heard that there's rumors that he wants to play next month in the international kind of window, but then he also wants to get some tune-up games. And the only way he has a tune-up game is if Inter Miami goes to the semis or the finals in this tournament. So have you heard of anything about that?
I mean, the only thing that I've heard is, Suarez came and said last week that be on the lookout for Messi coming back sooner rather than later. The latest that I've heard, he's still doing work within the gym, individualized gym work. But he should be back on the field later this week or possibly early next week. And if that's the case, and he gets 3, 4, 5 days of practice, I don't see why not. Why he wouldn't play at least sometime in a possible semifinal, definitely in a final game, if he wants to get some minutes before the Argentina game. Now, I still don't. I don't know if he'll play when he goes to Argentina. I know he said he will, but I'm more of the idea that he's going because he didn't get a chance to lift the trophy and go back to Argentina, with the Copa America trophy. And now that they're going to get their home game, he'll be able to go out there, lift the trophy, and he's the captain. That's what I think. As an Inter Miami follower, obviously I would be more cautious with him in those games because we saw what happened last year after the Leagues Cup. Thankfully he's getting a nice long rest right now, but he played those 7 games in Leagues Cup and then got injured, and then we never got to see him again.
Right.
So I would hope that Scaloni and the Argentina team err on the side of caution with him in terms of him playing. I really hope it's more of a, hey, I'm here to show off the trophy type of thing. But I do see him playing in a final if they get there.
So yeah, personally, this is the wildest thing for me because it's like, I know this is going to sound crazy coming from my mouth right now, but the amount of games Messi has missed, is he kind of erring on the side of a not the best transfer, or is it always going to be a good transfer because it's Messi, right? So it's like, it's almost like, shoot, we have Messi, but he's never healthy. He's never really healthy.
Are you trying to start a rumble in here trying to say,
it's kind of aiming to that at this point now.
Well, and you bring up an excellent point, because that's the biggest gripe that season ticket holders have with the Inter Miami front office, and why there's so much backlash going on between Inter Miami season ticket holders, supporters groups, and the front office, especially over the last month. They just had their season ticket renewals a couple weeks ago, and I did a whole analysis as much as I could on getting data and understanding, where are they increasing. I could not find anything that
close by Cucho Hernandez.
anything that showed me any correlation between some seats getting a certain increase. It was like all over the place. Like I have people who sit right next to each other in the same section, who one guy got a 10% increase, the other guy got a 3% increase. So nobody really knows what's going on. And that's the backlash. It's, hey, we don't mind paying these high prices if Messi's going to play, but he doesn't play. So, that's their whole gripe is, we're paying the Messi tax. Messi doesn't play. So at least give us some of the games, for a cheaper price, or don't raise the tickets on us, that much. That's their whole thing. And I don't disagree with them. Obviously, they are paying a Messi tax. I'm enjoying the fact that Messi isn't playing because the tickets have been cheaper over the last month. But we'll see what happens when Messi comes back.
Yeah, it was interesting. Personally, I mean, when I was looking at Suarez, when was the last away game he went to? It was like 93 days ago. And I was like, geez, then
it was in May.
Really?
How long has Messi been out, right? So it's like, I started thinking that, and then I was like, dude, this isn't the first time Messi's been out a big time. So it's just like, he is the best transfer of all time into MLS, or the best free agent signing, of course. But are we starting to err into the side where it's like, if they don't win anything this year, is it a good transfer, right? Is that crazy talk, or I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. I think why it seems like it could be a failure is because MLS has failed to capitalize on him.
True.
We all kind of had these expectations in our head of what they would do with the league, changing things, adding rules. When he came here, that hasn't happened, on top of him not playing as much as we thought he was going to play. So it's a combination of both. Not much change, him not playing much. So it's almost like he's here in name only, right? He's not actually playing that much. And obviously with the Copa America, his priorities were for that this summer, which no one can blame him, right? Obviously the national team is his first and love, and he's going to always prioritize them over everything else. But I don't think they have to win an MLS Cup to be considered successful, Favi. I think what they have to do, though, is he's got to play, and they have to be competitive, and they have to, just have some memorable moments. Like what we saw in Leagues Cup last year, right? That needs to be translated into MLS games when they're playing in the MLS Cup playoffs. It needs to be that type of level of excitement.
Right.
And this is kind of a throwaway year. I don't know what, not throwaway is like Miami's not good. Throwaway is like Messi is not the reason they're the best team in MLS right now. It's because Tata Martino's got them playing well, and they have a lot of good pieces. But Messi comes back and they play well, and they're able to compete for MLS Cup. I think that it will be a more favorable situation looking back on it.
Yeah, my whole thing too is Messi's maybe not having the best rap around the league too. I mean, you had an opportunity to go to All-Star game, maybe not play, but show face and wave hands and then watch the game on the bench, But instead, you're with Suarez, who was supposedly supposed to play on a boat at the end of Ibiza, right? So it's like, I don't know. I think I'm starting to get a bad taste in my mouth of the whole, Inter Miami first, when in reality, MLS fans want to see him play too, and it's just in my opinion, it's kind of a slap in the face to every fan that's not a Miami fan, to be honest. What they've done to Vancouver, what they've done to a lot of teams over the past couple of years. And I mean, shoot, if I'm Jordi Alba or Sergio Busquets, I'm kind of mad too. I mean, I got to play these games if they don't, like we're legends too, right? So it's just interesting to think about.
Yeah, but you also have to, and I'm going to go a little far out here and say, look, even though Messi's not playing and you might be able to question whether the signing is great or not, look, he might not be playing, but you can also make the point that Federico Redondo wouldn't have come if Messi wasn't here. Matias Rojas wouldn't have come if Messi wasn't here. Gomez wouldn't have come. So Inter Miami is capitalizing on the fact that they have Messi and Suarez and Busquets and Alba on their team to be able to attract some of this young talent that they're being able to get over here. I highly doubt Federico Redondo is going to go play in Vancouver. Sorry. I mean, Vancouver's a great city, and a beautiful city, and they have a decent team, but he's just not going to go there because
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
So
Okay.
in that sense, I do think that Messi, it's a great signing, and overall for the league, it's brought in a lot more eyes. But yeah, I do feel like he needs to play in order to keep his end of the promise. I mean, but if he's injured, how is he going to? You can't make him play, you can't force him play. But
here's an interesting thing too. I just looked this up. So Messi has played 18 of a possible 37 regular season matches for Inter Miami. Now, some of that is due to Copa America, but he's still missing time, right? He would have been able to play. He's missing games, and then some of it's been injury as well. But since he signed, Inter Miami has played 37 regular season matches, and he's only appeared in 18 of them.
And what's wild is, like, imagine if you are from Argentina and you bought MLS season pass. Like you're basically watching for Lucho Acosta at that point, right? Like you just spent $80 to watch Lucho Acosta halfway across the world, right? So it's just interesting to think like, well, shoot, is Miami really handling him right? But Daniel, you are right about the whole bringing in the talent, because they have been capitalizing on that. Shoot, let's see if Diego Gomez leaves tomorrow, because it's the last day of the transfer window, right? So
yeah, no, he's not leaving. I mean, I've heard from everybody that he's going to be staying till the end of the year, and then he'll be moving on to Brighton in the winter. At least that's everything that I've heard, and I haven't heard anything else differently than that. But like you said, Fabi, I mean, anything can happen. We have 24 hours, until the transfer window's open. There's still Griezmann rumors. There's still, a bunch of other things going on. So
that one I think is a little more far-fetched at this point now, right? Like you can't get Griezmann on the last day.
Well, I'll tell you this though. While I don't think he might come this transfer window, I still think it's very, very, very possible that he comes at the end of the season, like in the winter transfer window. Yeah. And that's some of the reports that I read today have him doing that. And especially with all the advertising that Atletico's been doing on his behalf, I highly doubt he leaves tomorrow. So I would, and if that's the case, I mean, we're going to set up for a really nice 2025 MLS season with basically, France over there on the West Coast, and with Argentina, Spain here on the Barca team here on the East Coast.
Oh, Diego Gomez with a curler, beautiful goal,
golazo.
Inter Miami up 2-0. I actually have a little news to report about that. I've been doing a lot of digging and obviously talking to several people, working the phones, and I was told the Griezmann deal, which I'm going to do a live stream tomorrow, a transfer day live stream at some point, whether it be 8:30, 11:30 at night. I don't know yet, but I'm going to do a live stream just to talk about what happened during the day, right? Because tomorrow's going to be crazy. And I was told that terms were agreed upon between Griezmann and LAFC. Everything's agreed upon. They agreed to terms, and they wanted the league to pay his salary, kind of like they're paying Messi's salary. LAFC wanted the league to pay Griezmann's salary, like they're paying Messi's salary. And the league said no. So that's what's jeopardizing the deal, because the league said we're not going to pay his salary like we did Messi. You're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay for it. So that's what's got the deal in jeopardy, because LAFC doesn't want to pay him. They don't want to pay him the 20 to 25 million a year he's going to make,
which is a little valid. I think Griezmann isn't Messi. I think we all know that here. Griezmann's big, Suarez big, but not Messi big, right?
Yeah,
not Neymar big.
But he would be a big addition for the league. And, you talked earlier about Messi. We just talked about him not playing in games, right? And I think even though Messi has been so durable over his career, age catches up with everybody, and your healing is not as quickly as it was when you're, 27 to 37.
Yeah.
Getting Griezmann at 33 and putting him on a team like LAFC, 4 years younger than Messi, I think could be a bigger deal long term, just because of how much soccer at a high level he has left in him. Imagine now, look, he's not the same player as Messi. I understand that. Nobody that knows soccer would ever make that comparison.
Right.
But just for comparison's sake, imagine if Messi came to Inter Miami in 2021 instead of 2023 or 2020. So 2020, their first year. Imagine Messi came that season, and at 33 years old, how much bigger of a deal that would be, and how much more he would have had left to contribute, and healthy he would have been. If Griezmann is playing for LAFC, the biggest or probably the best team the last couple of years, Favi, and then his brand is just going to it's just going to ignite and just skyrocket the profile of the club, and it's going to help with him, a player's profile like him playing for that team.
I think the problem is that they're LA and they've already had Bale and they've already had Chiellini. I think if it's a league vote, the other teams are starting to get jealous. That's the honest truth. So of course they're going to make LA pay an LA tax, right? Pay your own damn salary.
Is Griezmann Vinny bigger than Vinny? Because reports, and I don't know how true this is, but reports all over the place are saying that Vinny was offered $2 billion from Saudi Arabia, something like $35 million a month or whatever, which is absolutely nuts. I mean,
if you're Vinny, you take that, right? You take 1 year in Saudi and then you come back and play in Madrid, right? Like
100%. Yeah. Now the question is, if he takes that, do people start saying, "Oh, Mbappe drove him out"? And I'm just curious. And one more thing before I leave it to you, whoever was talking crap about Suarez, hey, Suarez put that beautiful ball to Diego Gomez, one touch. So it looks like he's still balling. Don't talk crap about Suarez.
Yeah, he's a bit slow, but technically he's there, you know. So no, yeah, I guess is Suarez going to resign? That's another thing that needs to come out in this.
Well,
game, right?
this is a good question. Michael Pelly said, "Does Suarez and Alba come back next year?" Alba only signed for this year, I believe. So as far as I know, they both are signed guaranteed through this season, but both players have a club option after this year to have their deal renewed. So that's up to the club if they want to bring him back next year.
Yeah, you know what, man? I actually think not selling Diego Gomez right now might be a bad play. I would sell him as fast as possible, bring in another Argentinian as fast as possible, and get and save on that Messi tax that we were talking about, right? So my whole thing.
Who was that? Christian Ramirez?
Yep, Christian Ramirez.
Christian Ramirez pulls one back 2-1, 30. Okay, so we got 24 minutes left. This is going to be interesting. Can Columbus tie it up? Only one goal away. Go straight to penalties. Sorry to interrupt you, Favi, but that was a nice goal finish by Christian Ramirez. Yeah, well, they're selling Gomez for sure. Like that's happening. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's just going to, actually make the move in the winter. Now, what I think they should do, and I've talked to Danny about this on the phone privately, is they can buy Campana down. He's not a true DP. He bought down to a TAM player. They could trade him. I mean, hell, they could get rid of him at no cost. There would be some team that would take Campana because he's only 24, and they could get rid of him easily or buy him down, either one. And then Diego Gomez is leaving in the wintertime, so they're going to have 3 U22s. They don't have to worry about the Facundo Farias issue when they have 4 U22s on the roster.
So I heard Facundo is able to play at the end of this year, which is going to be a roster issue because they don't have a slot for him because they put him in the season-ending injury list so they can bring in Redondo if I'm.
But they changed the rules. They changed the rules now to where you can have 2 DPs and 4 U22s. So they could do that at the end of the year. I saw that he was training, but I still heard that it's not likely he plays this season. But they did say he's making a good recovery and he's looking better.
Yeah, it's interesting to see.
I can also tell you on the Facundo Farias. So, almost a goal. Inter Miami, remember, they just picked up that international roster slot for $100,000 of GAM that they sent. So I'm going to be talking about it a little bit later on the Battered Herons post game show that we do for Inter Miami. But Inter Miami's rumored to be looking at a Argentinian 21-year-old forward who plays in the 3rd division in Argentina. And I'm trying to get there's a second goal. There's a second goal. Diego Rossi.
Is that Diego Rossi?
Yeah.
What a goal.
Diego Rossi. Guys, do you see how quickly this can change? 2 goals in 3 minutes. 2 goals in 3 minutes. We're tied 2-2. This is going to be an instant classic, it looks like. It looks like Columbus has got all the momentum right now.
Yeah, that Christian Ramirez sub at halftime changed the game for them.
Wow. That's what he is, though. He always comes in the game and is a huge...
Farsi, too.
Yeah, Farsi as well. Is that... You still got the kit, right? Is that the kit you have?
No. I have Arston out here.
Arston. Okay, that's who it was.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think I'm going to leave you. I'm going to watch this with my parents because they're big Inter Miami fans. So I'll be back.
Enjoy it.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for hopping on with us, Favi. Have a good night. Danny, this got interesting real quick, man. 2-2. Columbus, they're obviously a very good team, man. They could come back at any moment, score at any moment, and they just did that. They up to or tied 2-2, man, with 21 minutes left in regular time. I mean, this has been a great game, man.
It has been, and Inter Miami has kind of gone down ever since Matias Rojas came off. I don't know if you saw, but it looked like I don't know if he was injured, but he was limping a little bit, and they brought in Gressel, and Inter Miami has kind of gone down a little bit in their play. Looks like they're trying to high press now, but Columbus is breaking that high press, and they're kind of able to get on the break.
Yeah, I think I would say that whatever team ends up winning this game is going to be the favorite on this side of the bracket. I think that this team will beat Tigres, and then it's going to be Club America as the favorite on the left side of the bracket. So we could see this is almost like a final just because the quality of these two teams in MLS, right? We know how good both of them are. We got the defending champs and the leader of the table in Inter Miami. This is going to be this is an insane game. This is already it's incredible. This is probably the best game I've seen in Leagues Cup this year, honestly, just because of the quality of both teams.
And just to give folks a quick update, I don't know if you guys gave them an update at halftime, but the other games going on right now in the Cincinnati-Philadelphia game, it's in the 68th minute. Philadelphia is up 2-1. In the Cruz Azul-Mazatlan game, it's 2-0 Mazatlan at halftime.
Upset.
And in the Tigres New York City FC game, it's 1-1 at halftime.
Yeah, we got some interesting games. I mean, that's there's been some upsets. Mazatlan beating Cruz Azul is a huge upset. Now Cruz Azul, that game we live streamed the other night when they were playing Orlando City, they did not look very good in that game. Maybe I was thinking maybe they were fatigued and it was just an off night, but it looks like they're getting close to being eliminated. Look like they might be weaker than I had originally thought. Philadelphia beating Cincy isn't a surprise. Cincy has so many injuries. Luke Shaw Acosta is not playing. So I'm not really surprised by that. Now, Tigres and New York City FC is a very interesting match because if it's New York City winning in that game, I think Inter Miami or Columbus could easily win that game against New York City FC.
Yes, remember that if it's Columbus, NYCFC, the game will be played in Columbus. But if it's Inter Miami versus NYCFC, the game will be played at Yankee Stadium in New York. And remember, the field dimensions there are a lot smaller than traditional field dimensions at other stadiums. And so that could be something that would favor New York City FC if they were to come out on top. Especially knowing how Inter Miami plays. They love to use the wings. They love to spread the ball out wide, and not having that option in that really narrow field could give New York City FC a really, really good chance at beating Inter Miami if that's the case. And Columbus is just taking over here.
Yes, Philly Dilly says that Lucho Costa is actually back and subbed in at the half. I knew there was rumors he could be close to return. I didn't know if he actually was going to make an appearance, at least maybe in the next round. I thought if they advanced. So it's nice to see him back. Obviously, it would be a different game if Lucho Costa had played this whole tournament for Cincinnati. SGV says Columbus woke up. Yeah, I mean, they're looking good, man. Looking like the better of the two teams in the second half. This is my concern about Columbus, Danny, is that there's just such a well-coached team, even with adversity of being down 2-0. They're able to climb back in 2 minutes, able to tie it up. And
both of these teams, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is just a good game, right? Michael Pelly said Robert Taylor needs to come in. Yeah, I agree. They need to do something, right? They need to do something, energize his team, get a burst. Robert Taylor, that's like his specialty, right? Coming in and jolting the team, little pace on the wing. They need something, right?
Absolutely. They definitely need something. I don't think I think I probably would have brought in Robert Taylor instead of Julian Gressel. I think that with the game 2-0, I think that probably went with Gressel because he could play a little bit more defensively. And Robert Taylor gives you a little bit more on the wing, a little bit more on that 1v1. But up 2-0, you can't blame Tata for trying to go a little bit more defensive. That just shows you the resilience of Nancy's team in being able to break those lines and score 2 goals quickly like they did. And ever since they have been, I mean, they've been on Inter Miami has been on their heels.
Yeah, I mean, this is I honestly think that this is probably going to go to PKs. Oh, what a pass to Diego Gomez. Oh, I think this might go to PKs, honestly.
It might. We'll see see what happens in the next 15 because it's right now it's back and forth. It's literally just back and forth. It's one fast break after another. Not a lot of tiki taka from either sides. They look like they're just trying to get the goal and get the game over.
Okay, we got like 33 viewers right now in or in the chat with us. Guys, make sure you like this video, share with a friend. We got 15 minutes of exciting soccer left. This is a great game, so make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the little bell notification so you never miss any of my videos or any live streams that Danny and I do, because this will not be the last one of the tournament we do. We still have the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the final. So make sure you subscribe, hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. And also, Danny, where can they follow you at? Because I don't want to just give you a last minute shout. Tell people where they can follow you at.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter or on Instagram. It's at Danny Solana 5, DANISOLANA 5. You can find me there. Also do some content with the Battered Herons, and you'll be happy to know about this, Will. There's a little rebranding and not possible, but definitely a comeback of This Is Football in the works.
Nice. Yes. Everybody go follow Danny on Twitter or X, whichever one you prefer to call it these days. And also keep an eye on his rebranding. Danny is honestly the best Inter Miami content creator that I know. Suarez, he's going for it, isn't he?
He is.
Make sure you follow Danny. Love having him on these streams with me. Always fun to talk to him. Good friend of mine. He's one of the best in the business. So I appreciate him doing these streams with us. So go show him some love. Appreciate
it. And yeah, hey, Fabi asked for it at halftime, right? He said he wanted to see some more Liverpool Norwich Suarez, and I think that's what Suarez are going for there. Unfortunately, doesn't look like he has it anymore.
Yeah, but honestly, let's just say that Suarez completely falls off, right? The rest of the season, or just kind of slows down. What he's given this team, even in the games he's played, he's been worth every penny that they paid him. Like, he has overperformed. It's been a great signing. Honestly, he would be in contention for me for most underrated player in MLS or underrated signing, just because of the brand, what they're paying him, the production level. He's probably like a close second for me when it comes to him versus Matias Rojas for most underrated signing this offseason, just because of the payment and the production.
Absolutely. I mean, he's, especially while Messi's been out and he's been back, I mean, he's shown that, he's going to try to take command of the team. He has, he shows the leadership. He doesn't need the captain's band to be a leader on the team. And Tata Martino has mentioned it over the press conferences that having him on the team and having the other guys from Barcelona on the team has been an extreme help to the younger guys, and kind of showing them how to be professionals and how to, take these games, game by game and understand what the mentality is that you have to go into, especially in these tournament style games. So, regardless of what his play has been on the field, just him having, them in the locker room, I think has just been fantastic for the club.
100%. SGV says, is Vela going to stay at LAFC? What's going on with him? I honestly think Vela's retired at this point. It's, he hasn't played a game for him in almost a year, and the season started back in February. It's August. He's 35 years old. It would take a long time for him to get back into playing shape, especially from what he's been doing on his voyage in Europe, wine tasting, charcuterie board eating, whatever you want to call it. It's going to take a while. I think he's done, honestly. I know that LAFC fans wanted this farewell for him, but I don't think that's going to happen at this point. Griezmann might have been able to save it. Griezmann could have said, yeah, I want my boy I want my boy Vela with me, replicate our Real Sociedad days. But I don't think that's going to happen,
Me neither. I mean, he had a big money deal on the table with San Jose before the season, and he didn't end up taking it, or I don't know if it fell through, but you know, I thought he was gonna be back in an MLS uniform this season. But the fact that he hasn't, and it's already been 8 months, you know, into 2024, I'm with you, Will. I don't see him coming back. I think he's having a good time on his time off, and I don't see him coming back to the MLS.
No, I think that the San Jose offer was just a bluff to try to get LAFC to offer him more money. Like, hey man, I got $5 million offer from San Jose. You better pony up, or I'm going to San Jose. I'm going to not a rival, but in-state team instead of LAFC. So you better fork up the money. And they're like, yeah, well, okay. Well, if San Jose wants to pay you that at 35, let them pay you that. And then he's like, yeah. Oh, Diego Rossi with the goal to take the lead against Inter Miami.
Wow, but the play,
Wow.
Farsi, what a play by Farsi.
Is that Cello?
Yeah, it looks like it.
God, he has been a disaster, man. He has been so bad since like the first month of the year, or like when he came in. The first month he was okay, like in Champions League he was all right. He has been terrible ever since. Like he has. I honestly would bench him at this point. Like, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah, let's see the instant replay here. Farsi with a great play. Yeah, that wasn't on Cello.
That wasn't on him. Okay,
that wasn't on Cello. That looks like it's on either Noah Allen or Busquets or somebody not covering there. But yeah, definitely not on Cello. But I mean,
3 unanswered goals, Danny. 3 unanswered goals by
the last 15 minutes. Well, let's see what Tata does now.
He's got to put in Robert Taylor now.
Robert Taylor, maybe Campana, take off a midfielder. Got to go for it now, right? It doesn't matter.
Would you take Suarez off at this point?
Sport 2. No, I don't think you can. You got to leave him in there, especially if there's a chance that you're going to go to PKs. But he might take off maybe a Federico Redondo. Maybe he'll take off Noah Allen, go to 4 in the back. We'll see what happens.
Philly Dilly says Cincy 2. So I maybe Philly or Cincinnati tied it. I've just refreshed it. It still says it's 2-1 Philadelphia.
Yeah, it still says it's 2-1.
Yeah, so maybe it's delayed, but as far as I know that it's still Philly winning in that game. Oh man, Inter Miami have to get a goal here. They got 10 minutes plus stoppage time. Stoppage time, there really hasn't been a lot of wasted times. I think they'd be lucky to get 3 minutes.
Yep, I agree. No, but there's been some substitutes, so they might get 4. And yeah, it's 2-2. I just double checked.
Okay, 2-2. So Cincinnati ties it up against Philadelphia. That's a crazy result too. But hey, that's what I said. People, were disappointed in the group stage of Leagues Cup. This is where it gets exciting. This is where it matters. You win or you go home. So this is where it gets interesting. This is tight games. We'll see who prevails and wins. Inter Miami down by 1 goal, 3-2, with 7 minutes left in regular time plus stoppage time. Let's see what they can do. Okay, let me ask you this and see what you think about this. About Redondo. I don't think Redondo's been bad this game, but I haven't noticed him much in this match.
No, I haven't noticed him much either. But yeah, I don't think he's been bad this game. He's just, I don't think necessarily when a player there's a substitute there. You get Ian Frey coming into the game, Campana coming into the game, and just like I said, Noah Allen coming out, moving to 4 in the back, and he took out Chelo Wigant, and there goes Ian Frey into the right back. Oh, Campana. But yeah, I mean,
who's had the worst performance for Miami tonight?
I mean, I would probably say Chelo Wigant. I mean, he had that second goal was on him, and he just hasn't seemed to have been there all game. He had a poor game last game too, so I was surprised that he started this game. I thought Ian Frey would get the start, but yeah, he's been pretty bad this game. The other one is Julian Gressel. He's done absolutely nothing since he got in.
Yeah, well, I don't think Noah Allen's played that well either this game.
I think he was okay the first half. I think when he started getting more under pressure the second half, you got to see, his weaknesses in terms of coming out of the back and all
Oh,
that.
what a
But
pass to Rossi. Is that Toto? Toto Aviles with the great
yep,
slide tackle.
yep, very nice by Toto Aviles. You can see now.
Game. I think he's had a really good. This is one of the better performances by him that I've seen in a while. Like I don't think there's been a goal that you can pinpoint him as at fault for it. I think he's had a pretty solid game.
Yeah,
Which
absolutely.
you need him to. I mean, would they pay $7.5 million for him? He's 20 years old now. You need to see him start settling in and contributing. They're counting on him.
Absolutely. I mean, there's also been talks of Inter Miami, talking to former, or I don't know if he's still, but Mexican international player Cesar Montes. So some folks asked Tata Martino's yesterday at the press conference about him. All he said that that he would welcome him with open arms. That he knows him from his time in Mexico. But I think he would be a fantastic depth signing for Inter Miami. Looks like Redondo's hurt.
Looks like he's holding his.
Yeah, looks like he's holding his groin. Left groin.
Or his groin, yeah.
Yeah, he made a sign over to the bench. So,
can't afford to. Hopefully, it's not too serious. He looks okay though. He looks like he's just asking for some water or something because he's like reached his. Or maybe he was giving Kremovsky he like had his hands up like this, like he was trying to catch something. Maybe he was waiting to give Kremovsky like a hand slap or something.
I think that's what it was. Yeah, let's see if they can pull one out here in the last 5 minutes.
Philly Dilly says that Cincinnati and Philly's out of hand. Oh, Philly scored 3-2 Philly over Cincy now.
Wow. 3-2.
These games are crazy, man.
And Cruz Azul got a red card. So now they're down to 10 men and losing 2-0. Tigres New York City is still 1-1 in the 51st minute. Let's see if Columbus just has everybody back there now. Everybody except for
parking the bus.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. Oh.
No foul there.
Oh, what a save by Drake Callender. What another save by Drake Callender. Oh my God. Two great saves by Drake Callender. Two great saves. Wow.
Great saves. Wow.
Back to back.
This referee has been a little off today. I don't know. He's called some weird stuff, and he hasn't called some stuff in favor of Inter Miami.
You don't know about this guy? He's the infamous referee in the U.S. men's national team game versus Panama. He's the one that gave the red card to Timothy Weah. Oh,
really? Sorry. No, I had no idea. Wow, what a ball. Oh, come on. Oh, corner. Nope, not yet. You going to let it go? Yep, corner. Oh.
Man, this is getting crazy. Oh, Philly's up 4-2 now. Philly's
I just saw. I just updated on my screen. Yeah, Quinn Sullivan got that goal, and the one who scored the third one was Ty Baribo. So two goals in 3 minutes in that game. Wow.
This has been a good night. Now this is what you need. This is the performances you need to have to get people excited. You don't want to see a scoreless draw going to penalties between MLS teams, right? You want to see a 3-2 performance or 4-2 performance. You want to see goals. You don't want to see goals that are unearned, right? You don't want to see bad defense leading to goals. But this is the type of games that get people excited. And I'll be honest, I think this is the best game that we've streamed maybe ever since we've been streaming together. Honestly, this is excitement-wise.
Absolutely. I mean, it was definitely much better than the CONCACAF Champions final between Columbus and Pachuca. And definitely much more exciting than last week's game, last Friday's game between Orlando City and Cruz Azul.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and that's what's exciting is that imagine how much better it's going to be once we get into the quarterfinals and the semifinals, and then looked like Bright just pushed Rossi down.
Yeah,
interesting.
That was kind of
like a flop. Yeah, it's getting a little chippy. Maybe they're trying to get some added time. This referee's definitely infamous, though. I tell you what, he's got a lot of haters going up against him. Like the national team fans absolutely hate his guts. But but I think that you and I will definitely live stream the final together. We'll have to schedule around the other games, around your schedule. Obviously, you had mentioned your wife had an injury today, and obviously your son, you're going to have to pull extra dad duty, right?
That's right.
So we'll have to work around that, but we're definitely nonetheless doing the final together.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to see who the final is going to be, who's going to be in there. Like we've said, America is the favorite from the West. Now with this game the way it is, Columbus now becomes a favorite to win the East, especially with Cincinnati possibly going home, being on the losing end of a really a game that they should have won. I don't think anybody had Philly going into the quarterfinal of Leagues Cup on their bingo card this year, especially with the way that they've been playing. But kudos to them, to be able to beat the current Supporters Shield champions and move on to that quarterfinals.
Look at these saves by Drake Callender, the replay. The rebound save on Chris Ramirez was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
What's our stoppage time? It didn't say.
They have not shown it yet.
5 minutes. Ooh, that's good. 5 minutes to score.
That's enough time, man. That's enough time for a penalty to be called.
Why? I just don't understand. Why isn't Robert Taylor on the pitch?
I don't know. He didn't play last game either.
Is he hurt possibly?
No. I just think that Tata favors Rojas and Gomez pairing up top with Suarez instead of Robert Taylor. And honestly, I don't understand why, because again, I feel like Robert Taylor gives you a great job on that one-on-one, especially on the wing. And he's done a great job of combining with Jordi Alba. So, I'm as perplexed as you are. Oh man. Yeah. It's
another save by Drake Callender. Oh, what a save by Drake Callender.
But he's got to pick that up with his hands. What are you doing, Drake?
They got everybody up so far up the field, up the pitch, that their defense is already bad, but they're just so vulnerable. Like if they catch them on the counter, they're in trouble. They've been lucky to not concede a goal with what they're doing. And they might have two more chances, I would say, to actually score a goal. This one and maybe one other chance. It's just hard because Columbus is parking the bus. It's just really hard to, and Inter Miami doesn't really have a lot of aerial threats. I mean, Busquets is the tallest player, and he's the furthest one back.
Yeah, I mean, they've got.
Suarez, you got to take down the first touch. What are you doing? What the hell was he doing?
You got to shoot that.
Oh my God! Well, he had to shoot that, man.
That was probably the best opportunity that they were going to get.
What is he doing? He's got to take the shot. He cannot. Extra touch was unnecessary. What's he going to dribble the two defenders?
Yeah, I don't know.
Camacho with a good tackle though. Camacho with a good tackle on that. But that's crazy, man.
Well, they might get one more. Let's see.
I think they're going to get one more opportunity to score. See, but that's the thing, Dan. You cannot fail to capitalize on opportunities like that. Even if Suarez missed, that was the best chance he was going to get at a goal all night.
Unless he gets one more.
He might.
Let's see if Campana can do something here. Come on, bud.
Oh. Ooh. Okay, so we got 2 minutes of added time left. They might get one more chance. It's going to come down to the wire. But Columbus is definitely driver's seat right now. Not looking good for Inter Miami. I think I asked you this earlier, but if they lose this game, does it bother you being the reigning Leagues Cup champions to get eliminated in the round of 16, or does it not, really matter much to you?
No, I don't think it really matters much. I mean, obviously you want to win, and being the defending champion, you want to make it as far as possible. But I mean, I think you also have to understand this, as a fan and also as, just a fan of the game. You have to understand the scheduling and look, Inter Miami, because of how low they finished in the table last year, they didn't get a favorable matchup. I think they had one of the harder, I guess, kind of ways to get into, to get back to the final, having to face the defending MLS Cup champions, having to possibly face a Tigres in the next round if they were to go on. So, no, I don't think you can be disappointed. I mean, look, you're missing Messi. You had all your other players. You had a chance to win it. Unfortunately, it didn't go your way, and that's soccer, right? It happens that way.
I still wonder to myself if, what a pass. Oh, Kramaski. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. 2 opportunities.
Oh, my God. They were right in front of the goal. Oh, my goodness.
Kramaski, what a whiff by Kramaski. That was an absolute whiff by Kramaski. I was going to ask you, do you think, looks like they might get one more chance. Do you think that Sergio Busquets has been worth his $10 million contract?
No, probably not worth 10. Maybe he'd be worth 5, but not worth 10. I think, I think he's been great, but definitely not 10. I think it's going to be it, man.
Is that the final whistle?
Yeah, that's it.
The Columbus Crew have beaten Inter Miami 3-2 and will advance and play the winner of Tigres and New York City FC, which currently is still 1-1 in the 61st minute. So we'll keep an eye on that and see who they end up playing. Inter Miami had an impressive performance, though, Danny. You can't sell your guys short because of all the injuries, all the players missing. The group stage, they had a good performance and they just lost to the better team today. And it was a good game, though. Like, this was a good, hard fought match, and it could have really went either way.
Absolutely. I mean, no doubt. I mean, I would not be surprised if this is the matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals in the MLS Cup later this year. These were the 2 hottest teams in MLS right now. Like I had said before, Inter Miami was 8-1-1 going into this game, and Columbus Crew had just been putting 4 or 5 goals on absolutely everybody. So, not surprised that they were able to put 3 on Inter Miami today. I think the fact that they were missing David Martinez in the back and they had to start Noah Allen was a big loss, because you had to bring back Busquets into the defense. And of course, you're looking for Busquets to be in the midfield, not really in the defense. But you got to, tip your hat off or tip your hat off to Columbus. They showed the resilience in the second half to come back, and they got the goals that they needed to score. And big shout out to my Uruguayan brethren, Diego Rossi, for being the man of the match and scoring 2 goals.
4 goals in 2 games. So he's looking really good. I'm going to read a couple comments because I actually have to run. I'm going to read a couple comments and we'll end it on a good note. Great game, by the way. SGV says, why Miami didn't sub in Taylor? It's honestly crazy. Yeah, me and Danny both agree with you. Doesn't make any sense. Gives you a boost in the wing, the speed, the fresh legs. Definitely could have helped a lot. Tony Fiddler said, unwillingness to shoot killed Inter Miami. The hesitation was just confusing, right? That Suarez extra touch killed them. He should have shot that on the first touch. Jaden's the man says Wilfred Nancy gang. Yeah, Wilfred Nancy proves again why he is the best manager in Major League Soccer. Even when they're down 2-0, they prevail and score 3 unanswered goals. The final comment, SGV says new champion for the League's Cup. Yeah, official. There will be a new champion of League's Cup in 2024. Inter Miami is eliminated. Danny, it is a pleasure to have done this with you, my friend. One more time, tell the fans where they can follow you at on Twitter and on YouTube.
You guys can find me at Danny Solana 5 right there, at DANISOLANA 5 on Twitter, X, Instagram. Always putting out content and just love to talk about football. So if you want to follow me and just chat, tweet at me and we'll chat.
I appreciate you coming on, my friend. Guys, make sure you like the show, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. And until next time, we will see you all soon.